Truist Park. Friday night, July 3rd. A lot of fun. You know who's had a ton of fun already? Wiley Ballard. Let's take a look.
All right, Braves country, welcome out to Truist Park.
Yeah, let's do it.
Okay, tonight is the first of 3 nights for some all-out eating fun in the Battery.
That guy walked up to me and was like, "Are you gonna do the burger contest?" I'm like, "Nah." He's like, "You can do it." I was like, "All right, I'll do it." I think this is an armhole.
Each contestant has 12 crystals.
This way I can catch the burgers if they fall out of my mouth.
Tonight, we've got 10 contestants on this stage.
This is gonna be so terrible.
Braves country, how about we welcome from Braves Vision, Wiley Ballard!
Let's go! That's intimidating.
Braves country, you ready for a crystal eating contest?
I'm not sure how I feel about this.
All right, 5 minutes are on the clock.
You haven't eaten all day?
3, 2, 1.
My God. How much time we got? I don't feel good.
Wiley, how you doing down there?
I'm not feeling good. I don't feel good. You come here often? Yeah. Very bad. There's 2 in my hood right now. Yeah, I'm not gonna do it. I got you. Yes! Yes! That's my hero! Forest. What part of Ohio? Dayton Flyers, baby! You crushed it, dude! I will take one. Thank you very much. I just want everybody to know I inspired the guy next to me to win it. That's what happened. That's what happened. CJ and Brandon, who are they? That's
How you feel about this? Think you stand a chance?
to win, no. Thanks for the help, camera guy. This can't go worse than yesterday. I feel confident. We got a yellow one. What is that?
No hands.
No, they said no hands? I'm really more excited about this. I don't feel good about this. It hurt my feet. It's cold. It's cold. They're so sweet. I think I finished in second place. That's just my opinion. I think that's pretty good. I'm great.
Wow. It's a hard transition from that to baseball, but Grant Holmes is going to be taking the mound for the Braves. Bravos and Mets, game 1 of a 4-game series coming at you next on Braves Vision. This telecast tonight is brought to you by USAA. Tomorrow we celebrate the 250th birthday of our great nation. And tonight it is Mets and Braves from Truist Park. Game 1 of this 4-game series between these 2 NL East rivals. And the lineup for Andy Green, the interim manager who just took over a week ago for Carlos Mendoza. It's brought to you by Racetrack. It'll start with A.J. Ewing, then Juan Soto, and then Bo Bichette, the top 3 in the order for the Metropolitans. And on the mound, after a brief stop in the bullpen, making a start here tonight is Grant Holmes.
And we know all about the repertoire here for Grant Holmes. That slider, both fastballs, curveball, cutter, changeup for him. You mentioned the one relief appearance. Now back in the rotation. We'll see how deep he can get into this game.
Ford Keys, what do you have, partner?
So focusing on Grant Holmes and thinking about the reliever mentality, what was interesting about that last outing, no walks for him in 4 innings. The walks have been a little bit of an issue, and you got to wait him out. We're talking about Christian Scott. He has not been able to get deep in games either. The walk rate is high. Don't chase. He's going to try to get you to chase. If you can be patient, he'll throw a lot of pitches. You can get him out of the game early.
Let's take a look at the defense behind Grant Holmes, presented by Racetrack. On the infield, Jim Jarvis got the start yesterday. Mateo will get the start here tonight. Joining Ozzie up the middle, of course, Austin and Matt at the corners, and Drake Baldwin is the catcher.
Is that our watermelon winner out there? Yelling play ball?
I think that they did give him that as an award. Yes.
He was ready for it.
Right there. Wiley participated. He did not win, but he put up a good effort in the watermelon eating contest in the Battery.
That guy was raised on a watermelon farm, so it wasn't really a fair fight.
Well, yeah.
What'd you think of the yellow watermelon, Wiley?
I loved it.
It actually predates red watermelon. I realized that a couple of weeks ago when I accidentally bought a yellow watermelon. But a whole one, so I had no idea, and I opened it up. I was like, oh no, what's wrong with this watermelon? Actually, nothing. The yellow watermelon was before the red watermelon.
See, we learned something tonight. A.J. Ewing, first time that he has hit leadoff this season. And he takes a 1-0 pitch and fouls it away. Our home plate umpire tonight is Mr. Malachi Moore.
A little bit of a rough go of it. Of the 80 umpires that have been behind home plate at least 10 times this year, he ranks 77th out of those 80. What it is for him, above the zone. One spot, look at it, bright red right there, where he is going to be aggressive, calling pitches at the very top and above.
That one is above. Ewing got a piece of it. He's down to the count 1-2. For A.J. Ewing, 21 years old, just 47 games into his big league career, but he has been pretty productive for a struggling Mets offense. It's a group that offensively, in addition to obviously the record not being great offensively, they're 28th in runs. They're last in on-base percentage. And they switched the manager from Carlos Mendoza to Andy Green on an interim basis. So a lot of moving parts right now for New York. Harris hardly had to move to catch this. One away.
And I think the switch with Ewing at the top, he has gotten on base, 352 on base percentage, trying to get guys in front of Juan Soto,
who comes to the plate now. But there are the ranks offensively. All of these bottom 3 in baseball. A few boos to welcome Soto to the plate here at the top of the first.
It's a rite of passage, right? When you have the biggest contract in baseball, you're going to get booed no matter what. You can be the nicest guy in the world, the most charitable. When you have a different uniform on, you're going to hear it. I'm not saying he's any of those things. I don't know, but it doesn't matter.
Looked like that pitch was out. But Grant Holmes will take it. 1-1. I don't know if a bug flew in his face, but he turned away quickly. I think he's got it all sorted out now.
It looked like it's some kind of reaction, and now he's going to get a pitch clock violation. You got to call timeout. It's going to cost you a strike.
So it's a 2-2 count. Here comes Andy Green.
It's interesting, right? And thinking about how that works. So if you get knocked down, pitch knocks you down, they're not going to start that clock. They give you an opportunity to get back up. You mentioned it. Yeah, it did look like maybe a bug or something had gotten to Juan Soto. But you got to probably say something, because if you don't, guys will be faking this all day long.
Yeah, he didn't say anything to Andy Green like, hey, I got a bug in my eye or in my mouth or whatever happened there.
It's not Malachi Moore's job to track the insects of the ballpark.
Watch it here in slow motion.
All right. Oh, yeah. Look at all that dirt on Drake's glove.
Oh, yeah. It's just the specks of dirt that came up and got him.
Yeah. Like you said, you probably got to say something, though. Like a fireworks explosion before 4th of July at a Baldy's glove. I don't like it. You know, I don't like Baldy. So I just feel like at some point that is going to be my nickname, but not for like a fun reason.
But he's got it right there on his chest protector. 2-2 here to Soto. Struck him out. It's a curveball. 2 away.
And you can see Juan Soto was still frustrated by what happened. You mentioned the call that was probably off the plate, called to strike. Then what happened with the pitch clock violation. Now this is a good looking breaking ball from Grant Holmes, who, by the way, now against Juan Soto 0 for 4 with a walk.
So the first 2 retired. Here's Bo Bichette. Second time that the Braves and Mets have tangled this year. Mets took 2 of 3 up at Citi Field. And now Atlanta trying to bounce back from having the Cardinals come in here last series and take 2 of 3. The Mets, meanwhile, they were off yesterday in Atlanta after playing 3 in Toronto. They're finishing their road trip with 4 here in Atlanta.
A little bit of an emotional series for Bo Bichette as they'd gone up to Toronto, of course, where he had spent his entire career. Got a little emotional when reporters asked him about the return and kind of looking back on his time up there.
There's a strike. Well, I'm sure realistically for him right now, you came from a team that was having some success, that almost won the World Series. And yes, the Mets have a big payroll. It's New York and all that, but you're 36 and 51. Yeah. So I know he got a big paycheck to play in that uniform, but maybe some mixed emotions right now for Bo Bichette.
And a new position that he'd been trying to learn, but then they had to put him over at short because Lindor was out, which was his kind of long time position. So yeah, there's a lot going on there for Bo Bichette.
Holmes looking for a 1-2-3 first. Lined over towards the dugout.
Including, and I think about Hunter Pence is the first guy I think of when I'm looking at Bo Bichette's uniform. Does he have the shortest pants in baseball? They're a good like 3 or 4 inches above his knee, and maybe more.
Yeah, those aren't even capris. They're just shorts.
Like the old coach shorts from the 80s.
Yeah, Dad would wear those and penny loafers and a tight polo on a Saturday over to your 8 a.m. start.
Pack of cigarettes in his back pocket.
That got a piece of Bichette.
Well, he will expand. It's better than a 40% chase rate. He's 9th highest in baseball. He's always been that guy. He can handle some pitches outside of the zone too. JP Arencibia there on the right, the catching coach with the New York Mets, first year with them.
And the rest of the staff stayed the same. It was just Carlos Mendoza going out and Andy Green, the interim manager, but surrounding him it's the same. And Grant Holmes not being able to land that slider. 2-out walk.
And that is what we will keep an eye on. I was looking today and kind of fascinating to see the difference for Grant Holmes as a reliever. Sub-4 walk rate, 4%. As a starter, he's up above 10%. There's been a pretty big gap, and even that 4-inning outing that he had following Bryce Elder, he did not walk a single hitter. I don't know if there's a different kind of mentality as we talked about with him. Trying to be a little bit more careful, trying to get deeper in games, and then you end up falling behind and the walks go up.
Yeah, that was last Saturday in San Francisco. There are the numbers you're talking about.
That's actually for his career.
Well, he does get ahead of Lindor here, 0-2. Remember, Lindor was still injured when the Braves played at Citi Field. So it's the first time they have seen Francisco Lindor this season. He returned from a left calf strain on June 24th.
Just one stolen base for Bo Bichette this year, and it's been a problem for the Mets. They've not run particularly well. Lowest stolen base percentage in baseball. All the other things that are going on, that has also been one of their issues.
As he cannot stop it. Solid single for Lindor. Bichette will halt at second base. He has struggled since returning from that calf injury, but he got a hold of this one.
Not a bad slider, right? It's down here probably at the bottom of the strike zone for Grant Holmes and look like maybe even below. You could live with that. It's just a good piece of hitting from Francisco Lindor, especially with 2 strikes.
An early mound visit here from Jeremy Hefner. Of course, remember with Jeremy Hefner, last 6 seasons as the Mets pitching coach, and now on the other side of this rivalry.
Part of this conversation, I think, after a 2-out walk and then that base hit from Francisco Lindor, is knowing with Carson Bench he has a tendency to be pretty aggressive, especially with runners in scoring position. So you don't want just that get me over first pitch strike.
Aggressive swinger, aggressive necklaces. And he takes the first pitch outside. He is the guy that was hitting leadoff all the way back since May 12th, but making the switch tonight to put Ewing first and Carson Bench 5th.
I think it kind of makes sense, right? There's a little bit of pop in this bat as well. 10 home runs on the season. The on base a lot lower than Ewing's, and he is getting comfortable. Get your on base guy near the top.
Down the first base line, tap foul. A lot of guys do it, but I don't know how those necklaces just would not drive you crazy when you take a swing.
I agree. There's a lot going on. There's a lot at risk there as well. Hopefully they got that thing insured. But you'd never guess it by looking at him, man. But this guy's got some pop in his bat. He's listed at what, just 185 pounds, I think, and 6'1". But he's hit for power in the big leagues and the minor leagues.
And a pretty good poke here, sending Harris back. And Michael got to it. And keeps the Mets off the board in the top of the first.
Thing of beauty right here by Michael, because if this gets down, it's 2 runs. And Michael Harris full speed and tracking in a big out here in the first inning.
Great catch by Harris to keep the Mets off the board. Bottom of the first, Drake Baldwin will step to the plate first. Racetrack lineup for Walt Weiss and the Atlanta Braves looks like this. And the man facing that lineup is Christian Scott. Just his 20th big league start. And Tommy John surgery missed last year. What do we know about this right-hander?
Respectable fastball that sits at 96. The sweeper and the cutter have both been really good for him. He's got a split slider and 2-seamer, so it's a very deep repertoire that you're going to get here from the right-hander. And we had talked about, you know, surprised maybe that we didn't see Jarvis in there against a right-handed starter. The reason is because lefties are hitting just 207 against him. The righties 271.
Lefty Baldwin fouls it away. So 20th big league start for Christian Scott. He had 9 of them in 2024. Then he had the arm issue. So he's shut down. He has surgery, misses all of last year, makes the return, and now his 11th start this season. High to third. Bichette across. 1 down. Racetrack defense for the New York Mets. Soto, Ewing, and Binge. You got a veteran and then a couple of young guys out there. And as CJ mentioned, with Lindor back, that moves Bichette to third. They got him to play third base. Beatty at second, Young at first, and Torrens behind the dish.
Did you read about his surgery the same way I did, which was Tommy John and internal brace?
Internal brace, yes.
Both of them. Like at the full Tommy John, usually the internal brace is essentially where you're trying to bypass Tommy John. As Ozzie goes down here after that foul ball off his ankle. I don't know how much I've seen that where it's been actually both.
Yeah, it was the first one that I had seen.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, missed that pad altogether, almost right off the shin.
It was definitely some significant pain there for Ozzie. It's the last thing the Braves need right now.
Jeff Stevenson talking to him, athletic trainer. Tarp was on the field before the game because there was a storm that rolled through, but quite a few guys were underneath taking batting practice. Ozzie was one of them. And he's just always smiling. Even when he takes a ball off his shin, he finds a way to smile and just step back in the box.
And you'll see a lot of fastballs up there here with Christian Scott. That is where he likes to throw that pitch. That four-seamer, again, is the pitch that he uses the most. And then depending on if he's facing a lefty or a righty, changes pretty dramatically where he goes with his secondaries.
Lance Barrett says Ozzie did not offer. 1-2.
Lefty's got to deal with the cutter and the sweeper. The righty's got to deal with that sweeper first. A lot more than they do with the cutter.
There's the four-seam fastball at 97. 2 down.
And when we showed you that heat map for Malachi Moore, it was one that favored Christian Scott because of where he throws his fastball, because Malachi Moore has a tendency to open up. It's going to put guys in swing mode when they see the fastball at the top.
7 pitches, 6 strikes so far for Scott. But yeah, keep your eye on that cutter, because before the surgery he didn't really throw that pitch. He relied on a slider. He's ditched the slider, relying on that cutter sometimes to lefties. And as CJ was mentioning, the numbers have been pretty good on that pitch.
Yeah, lefties against the cutter 148. The righties against it, they don't have a hit on it all year. Now they only see it about 10% of the time compared to the lefties that see it at 22%. It's been a real good pitch for him.
So far, just a couple of four-seamers to Olsen. And then another four-seamer for a 3-pitch at bat in a quick 1-2-3 inning. Imagine that. By Delta Airlines, keep climbing. And by JP Morgan Chase, reigniting the American dream to expand opportunity nationwide. Hope everyone is having a great start to their holiday weekend as America celebrates its 250th birthday. No score as we head to the second inning here between the Braves and the Mets.
I think the facial expression we saw from Grant Holmes after Michael made that great catch, a little sigh of relief knowing he's got to get back in the zone and get ahead of some of these Mets hitters.
So you were starting to talk about it a bit, but with the higher walk rate as a starter versus a reliever, what do you think? Is there more to that?
I'd love to talk to Grant about that and kind of see what kind of feedback you get from him. It's an interesting kind of thing that you see.
Dubon in, and Jared Young is 0 for 1.
You were sharing the other day about Dylan Dodd, right, and his comfort level of coming out of the bullpen. Now, I think Grant wants to be a starter in the worst way. You get that impression. But is there a different mentality when he is starting, more time to think, you're going at your pace, as opposed to that phone rings, you're up, you're not, it has to happen quickly, and then you're just going? Maybe. It could be part of it. Again, it could be him trying to be a little too perfect at times when he is starting. In his mind, to get him deeper in the game, it actually costs him, and he's out of the game earlier.
Just the 1 walk so far to Bichette, and now he faces Francisco Alvarez. Let's take a look at our Zaxby's Who's Got the Sauce. Talking about him as a starter, 4 earned runs or fewer in 14 of his 15 starts. So you like those numbers?
You certainly do, and you can see the percentage and where that puts him among starters in Major League Baseball. That next step for Grant, I think, is some more consistent outings above 5 innings pitched.
Who's going to take this? That'll be Harris. Late conversation with his buddy Mauricio.
As long as that ball was in the air, it might have been a full conversation that they were having, and it looked like Mauricio was going to catch this at the end, but we know the center fielder is the boss, especially when it's Michael Harris who was camped underneath that baseball.
Grant got a chuckle out of it. So did we.
I think he saw we saw,
yeah.
Which he's anticipating Mauricio Dubon was catching that.
So 2 in the air to start the second. Here's Brett Beatty. How about 3 in the air? Everybody getting into the act. Dubon, Harris, and Yaz with a catch. 1, 2, 3, top of the second. You will ever see here at the ballpark.
It's their jam they're playing right now.
Oh,
contest is on.
All the kiddies are out on this 4th of July weekend. So Dubon to start the bottom of the second here. So 20th start overall for Scott. He did have a start against the Braves before his injury in 2024. Actually, his second career start came against Atlanta in May of 2024 at Citi Field. 6 innings, gave up 3 runs. And that was actually the game where the Braves took a no-hitter into the 9th. They were 1 out away from a combined no-hitter. Max Fried went 7, Joe Jimenez the 8th, and Iglesias is 1 out away when J.D. Martinez hit a homer. There's the line from that day for Scott.
Good strikeout numbers for him. You can see why. And he's always had really elite command throughout his minor league career. Been a little bit higher since he has been a big leaguer and back from that injury. But this is an arm that they certainly missed over that time. They've had all kinds of issues in their rotation.
But unable to find the command there, and Dubon with a leadoff walk. Michael Harris coming up. That leads us to our Toyota Trends feature here tonight.
That's a good trend right there. That's what we like to see. We told you about that game a couple of years ago, and Michael went 3 for 3 with an RBI, scored a run in that game, which, when again you look at some of the numbers for Scott against lefties, makes it even more impressive.
First pitch deep to center, and it is gone. A splash into Chattahoochee Falls.
There are some guys you just see the baseball well against, and for Michael Harris, clearly 4 at-bats into his career against Christian Scott, he is one of those guys as he smokes this ball to center field. 419 feet here for Michael Harris.
And the Braves have been missing the long ball, just 1 homer over their last 6 games. But Harris with a big swing there to put Atlanta on top 2-0. It also puts Michael Harris over 300 career runs driven in. He's now at 301.
It's such an oddity. We kind of had the same conversation about Tyler Kinley yesterday. Really good numbers against lefties, low batting average, but for Christian Scott, 6 home runs allowed this year. Lefties have hit now 5 of them. So the long ball at times they've been able to get to him, but other than that, there's been struggles.
And now Dom Smith with a 1-2 count. And for Michael Harris, 15th of the season, to give the Braves an early cushion here. to the left side, and Bo Bichette with a throw across. Austin Riley takes one right in there at 95. It's one of those pitches we were talking about yesterday that Austin Riley's been struggling with a bit this year. Something breaking away from him, like that sweeper.
It's a good one in the zone now. Probably you try to expand a little bit more. Perhaps use the fastball in a location that you're comfortable. But after seeing one in the zone, you usually try to throw a bigger one like that, based on the history and based on what's going on here with Austin recently.
Scott deals a 1-2. He tries to go to that same pitch. It evens the count. See, not as much perspiration for these players tonight. With the rain that went through earlier, it's still very humid, but not as hot and humid as it was the last few days. So somewhat of a reprieve tonight.
Yeah, it feels pretty good. Air conditioner blowing on our back helps a little bit too.
Yeah, we're spoiled. Not nearly as many people fanning themselves. Here comes a payoff, and we'll do it again.
So Austin is turning this into a really good at bat, right? He's going to see at least 8 pitches now. After fastball sweeper put him down in the count 0-2. He laid off 3 in a row. Has fouled off a couple. You'd love to see him win a plate appearance like this one.
Here is the 8th pitch. And there will be a 9th. Went over to the Mets dugout. Everybody's okay.
Coaching staff looks young, doesn't it?
They do, and a lot of them are. It's an interesting spot to be in, right? Obviously, anytime you fire a manager mid-season, but then the rest of the staff stays. There's some good in that, some continuity, but you put Andy Green in, who was in the front office, so he knows these guys, but has never really shared a dugout with them.
It's a really awkward situation, quite honestly, in my opinion, for those guys and for these players.
There's a walk for Riley. That's a really good at bat, a 10-pitch at bat after fouling off 4 pitches.
That's the thing of beauty and the little things that can build some confidence for Austin Riley. But going back to Andy Green, he has already said his intent is to go back into the front office. That is what makes this awkward, right? You have somebody come out of the front office. They're going to be in the dugout for the last 3.5 months of the season. And you feel like it's not a knock on him. He's managed before. But he basically said, I'm going back to the front office. So now it just feels like evaluation time. And that is a weird spot to be in every day. Sometimes you blow off some steam. You say some things you don't. Not that it's a big deal, but that's what happens over the course of a season. You can't do that around Andy Green. You got to be on your toes every single day as a coach and a player right now, because you know everything is going right back to the front office.
Yeah, he was the VP of player development before stepping into the interim role. And as you said, was the skipper for the Padres as they went through a rebuilding phase from 2016 to 2019. So his record there was not great, but he also wasn't given a great hand of cards, if you will.
Yeah, he's a good baseball man. He's been around the game for a long time. He and I actually were in Asia at the same time, different teams, but all the foreigners kind of get to know each other a little bit when you're going through that. The thing that was even most surprising for me is that Kai Correa, their bench coach, when was brought over, he seems like he's a manager in waiting. His name came up when all those jobs opened up this offseason. You see him there on the right, highly respected guy around the league. This is the perfect time to help him kind of build his resume and give him a shot at leading the team, and then seeing if you want him next year to be your manager. That made it even more surprising for me. Those are great glasses.
They're different.
I think I have those in my workshop.
7th game that Andy Green has been the manager.
If you're turning on the table saw, those are the glasses
those
you
are
want
perfect.
right there.
Yep, your eyes are protected. Yeah, I last wore those in an AP chemistry lab in 2002. Count evens up to Yastrzemski, so the pitch count climbing a little bit here for Christian Scott after he had a very quick first inning. He threw 10 pitches in the first, and now he's at 26 here in the second. Swing and a miss. He does get the strikeout. That's the cutter that we had been talking about earlier.
And elevated here to Mike Yastrzemski, and probably outside of the strike zone, but it's firm. It's 91 miles an hour, and yes, sees that it's probably being pretty close. You also have Scott, who's got a lower arm angle. He sits around 30 degrees or so, so there's going to be some upshoot feel to all of those pitches.
Jorge Mateo batting 9th. Good game for Jim Jarvis yesterday. Walt Weiss had good praise for Jarvis in just his 3rd big league game, but back to Mateo tonight.
He made the impression that he needed to make yesterday, certainly with the glove. And as the Braves continue to try to sort things out here over at shortstop, it feels like this combination of Jarvis and Mateo is where we land here going forward.
Oh, Jorge Mateo, a little bit of pop out to center. Drifting all the way to the track. Ewing is able to bring it in, but he did not bring in the one for Michael Harris. That landed in the water.
It's Money Mike on Independence Week, going big on that first heater that he saw to put the Braves up early.
So on to the 3rd, with the Braves leading it 2-0. Bottom of the order, Luis Torrens, after Holmes had a really quick 7-pitch second inning.
Of course, now you want the shutdown inning, right? The Braves get up early here, thanks to Michael Harris. Filling up the zone is what you'll be looking for and staying aggressive.
Now the hitting coach for the New York Mets is Troy Snitker. Of course, that's Brian Snitker's son. So Snit and Ronnie and the grandbabies are here tonight at Truist Park. A little strange with Troy being, you know, in the Mets uniform as the rival, but always good to have Brian and Ronnie and their the grandkids in the middle.
Yeah, I mean, if you had to be kind of honest to get an honest answer from Snit, yeah, I'd like to see him get a bunch of hits and lose. I think he'd be okay with that.
Curveball in the dirt, 2-2. When Brian Snitker was inducted into the Braves Hall of Fame earlier this year, the Mets had a rainout, and that allowed Brian to be here for it. And that was or Troy rather, sorry, very special moment for the Snitker family. But he's in a tough spot, right? You're retained like everybody else, but you've got an offense that has been struggling, and sometimes that's not the fault of the pitching or hitting coach.
It is, and it rarely is the fault of the coaches, especially guys with experience, have done things, you know, they're bringing it to the table.
This one's deep, but it's going to go foul.
90-95% of the time it's going to be on the players. They've had injuries, right? I mean, that's been a big one as far as even getting, and they have it here tonight. Bo Bichette, Juan Soto, and Francisco Lindor in the lineup. It's been, what, maybe 10, 12 times all year that they've been in the same lineup.
Payoff pitch, fouled away. Yeah, they have had their fair share of injuries. Now, most teams are going through that, but you have Lindor out for a couple months. Just when he gets back, Marcus Semien goes to the IL with a hip flexor strain.
And one of the conclusions I think a lot of people around the Mets have drawn is that they tried to do too much in an offseason with a bunch of new coaches and a lot of new players.
No problem here for Ozzie. One down.
I mean, you mentioned you kind of went through with Bo Bichette. That's a big one. Go to third base, go to New York, play for a new team with a monster contract that also has opt-outs starting this year right away. They brought in Marcus Semien. They moved on from Pete Alonso, which is Mets fans just up in a tizzy right now still as they are struggling. Brandon Nimmo, Jeff McNeil, big subtractions.
And they let Edwin Diaz walk.
Yeah, so there's a lot of changes, a lot of new coaches, a lot of new players. Now you got a couple of young ones that are making their way up here, like A.J. Ewing, like Carson Bench, right? You got to give those guys their time to get comfortable. It's asking a lot.
Some of those notable injuries. Robert got to play center field. He's been out since April 30th.
Gosh, I forgot about those two guys.
Yeah, now they're on a rehab assignment. Oh, Olsen. And he's frustrated. Errors on back-to-back nights for Matt Olson, and you just don't see that from him.
You certainly do not. And I do wonder for Matteo if he thought about rushing this a little bit, knowing that you had a pretty fast runner in Ewing. Ball also looked like it kind of took a high hop on him.
Also shocked by how high that ball bounced off the dirt. More boos for Soto, who struck out in the first. Deep down the left field line toward the pole. It is out of here, and just like that, the game is tied. So right after the air, Soto jumps on the first pitch.
And it's a first pitch as you take a look here. Now registered as a changeup, that kind of kick change that you get from Grant Holmes. I think that might have been a two-seam fastball instead at 91 miles an hour. Either way, it's an impressive piece of hitting and a very nice catch there in the bullpen. Perez that caught that?
I don't think it was Perez. But it was an impressive catch.
I had my money on CNL Perez.
It was. You're right.
All right.
Why did I question you?
Sorry, that's okay. You should do that.
Yeah.
So the changeup sits around 90, but you're looking at that grip. It almost looked like a two-seamer. Statcast had that as a changeup, though, but I think that was the sinking fastball. But he rarely throws that to lefty. So remember, he's that kick change, too, so it's a little bit of a different changeup type of grip that Grant Holmes has. Either way, ball was running away from Juan Soto, and again a nice piece of hitting to take it out to left.
And Soto's career numbers against the Braves just continue to be incredibly good. Need to calm him down. That's a tough play for Mateo going out, but he made it look pretty easy with a basket catch.
And I think Michael was communicating with him too, knowing he was not going to get there. Michael had a long way to go. You can see how he is shaded toward right field. So this is all Mateo. A little peek there to see where Michael is. He realizes he's got to get it, and he does.
Cleanup man Francisco Lindor, who had that single in the first. But for Soto, that's now 27 homers in 94 career games against the Atlanta Braves, an OPS of over 1,100. So his eyes have lit up when he has seen the Braves for some reason. Ozzie races over, backhands, and a clean throw to end the inning. But a pair of first pitch 2-run homers. That's the story of the ball game so far. You are locked into the Friday Night Showdown, presented by Kaiser Permanente. Wiley Ballard, CJ Nitkowski, Brandon Gaudin with you here from Truist Park. 2-2 is the score. Top of the order for the Braves here in the bottom of the third.
I think from this point forward, just refer to him as Watermelon Wiley.
I like that.
Based on what we saw today. I'm curious about Wiley's reaction when he sat down in front of a yellow watermelon, if he was familiar with them at all. Higher in beta carotene, that's a big one. I know it's important to Wiley.
So see, I was not familiar with them, so when I saw it I thought, what's going on here? And then you educated me, and now I'm in the club.
I was forcefully educated after I panicked. Probably about 3 weeks ago, I cut open a watermelon that I got from my local farmer, and I was like, what in the world? Why is this yellow?
Thought he was poisoning you?
Maybe.
We don't panic, CJ. Go to
Thank
work,
you,
we
Wiley.
compete.
There you go. That's my guy.
No, it was fun.
Speaking my language.
I actually enjoyed it.
Have you ever seen a yellow
No.
watermelon before?
No?
No.
Yeah.
I woke up today having never seen a yellow watermelon. I will put my head on the pillow tonight. Haven't eaten a yellow watermelon. Life comes at you fast, boys.
And our graphics operator Ben Momo also participated in.
Yeah, I
the
think he was
affair.
also forced into it because he has been known as a pretty good watermelon eater around here. He's been crushing it, and so there was an assumption he could be maybe a finalist.
Ewing will catch this.
But that's what you got to be careful of, right? Everyone likes certain foods. It doesn't mean that you're ready to eat that food in a food eating contest. Look, and you know, Ben's used to using his hands too. That's like when it starts turning sideways on you, that's a tough break.
Watch this right here. This is. Oh, we missed the good part. He got a new nickname.
There's a good part.
Yeah, it got better or worse. He got a new nickname, but I guess I can't share it.
Have you ever seen those videos of those Malinois dogs just like eating dirt, like digging holes? Like that's what they look like. The mouth trap really big and just eating what is ever in front of them.
Well, good job. Good. Both of those guys, good sportsmanship getting down there and participating.
All I know is I don't think Emery's going to be giving Momo a call to do the commencement speech anytime soon. You can't be wearing the gear and finishing in third place.
At least he's on the podium.
Well, that podium's only big enough for one of us.
I was wondering for Wiley when he lost the Crystal Burger eating portion of that contest yesterday, if it hurt a little bit more to lose to a guy with a Mighty Mouse tattoo on his forearm.
It would have hurt a lot more to eat 12 Crystal Burgers in 5 minutes.
That's true. If it's fair, it's gone. And that ball is fair and into the chop house for Ozzie Albies.
Is on fire right now here. Elevated fastball and even in somewhat inner third to Ozzie Albies. The only question was whether or not he caught it out front and hooked it. He didn't. 386 feet here for Ozzie to right field.
So one home run over a 6-game span, and now homers in back-to-back innings here as the Braves trying to get those bats going. And all 5 runs between the Mets and the Braves via the long ball tonight. Matt Olson with a solid swing, but it's foul.
And nobody wants one more right now than Matt Olson after that error which led to the first run that scored because of the homer. He was pretty upset about it. And then also, surprisingly, the struggles that he has had here against Scott, now 0 for 4 in his career with 4 strikeouts. Somebody's got to pay for what has been going on here. And I think Matt Olson's going to make Christian Scott do it.
Two balls, 2 strikes. full count. Scott already at 54 pitches here with 7 outs recorded.
Part of the game plan for me coming in, because for Christian Scott, he'd been averaging better than 18 pitches per inning, which is a high number. Had a quick first inning, but the Braves have done a good job here now over the last 2 to get that pitch count up.
6'4" righty delivers. Matt just gets a piece of that slider. Scott, a native of Southeast Florida, so he's used to this humidity. He played for the Gators at the University of Florida. And he's ready with a 3-2. And he walks Matt Olson. Let's take another peek at that beautiful swing from Ozzie Albies.
Yeah, right here from the side, really slugging from both sides of the plate this year. We talked a lot about what he's done against lefties, but the right-handed pitchers as well. When we see Ozzie swinging left-handed, has been pretty solid this season. As we take a look at our Truist leaderboard here, and the most home runs versus the Mets over the last 10 years. Here he is at the very top. That's an impressive group of people that Ozzie is leading.
Yeah, how about that? 3 above Bryce Harper. You go on down the list. It's an impressive list. Maybe the most memorable was the homer that he had to walk off the Mets here at Truist when had the players only broadcasts up here in the booth. That was the poor Larry a Crown night.
I think he's ready to name one of his Fish City.
just like Larry. Yeah, Chipper has a kid named Shea because of all of his success there at the old ballpark. A visit to the mound. Pitching coach Justin Willard. Quick message from Zaxby's.
Zaxby's just dropped a whole new line of dry rubs, and they're not playing around. Who's got the sauce?
Zaxby's.
You're talking about Scott's time over at University of Florida. I found it interesting. He was a reliever when he was there. He only had 5 starts throughout his entire career. He also had a COVID year in there where he pitched, so didn't get a lot of time in that second year. But to see the trajectory, right, and this is not that uncommon now, where there's some relievers that go through college as a reliever that professional teams ultimately convert to starters, and he's a good one.
Command has been a bit of an issue. The 3 walks got behind Dubon 2-0. Now 2 balls 1 strike.
And the length of those at bats, right? Austin Riley 10 pitches in his walk. Matt Olson right there 8. So you're talking about 18 pitches burned on 2 walks.
And that is 2 walks now for Dubon. 4 on the game for Christian Scott. Nobody yet. And Michael Harris, who had the 2-run homer to center field in the second inning, comes to the plate now with 2 men on base.
Everything about this feels like a first pitch breaking ball. You walk 2 guys, the fastball command hadn't been there. Michael smoked a fastball first pitch in his last at bat. We'll see if Michael, I don't know if he likes to play along and guess or not. It's not 100%, but it just feels like he's going to try to spin one in there.
And the cutter. Let's take a look at our Whataburger What a Play. It is the homer from Harris.
There it is, that heater, upper third, over the plate. Michael all over it. And again, in the brief time that he has faced Christian Scott, he has been extremely comfortable. It's 4 for 4 with 3 singles and now this home run.
to the second baseman, Beatty. You do get 2 in scoring position here. Olson to third, Dubon to second. See what Dom Smith can do. Mets were hoping to get a good start from Christian Scott because their rotation has been struggling. Freddie Peralta, another bad start their last time out in Toronto. And all in all, you go back to when they lost Clay Holmes in the middle of May. It's a 5.78 ERA for the rotation since then. It has been a struggle.
See Freddie Peralta in that last game, at least right now, is a probable for Monday with this 4-game wraparound series that the Braves and the Mets have here at Truist. First year as a Met, he'll be a free agent at the end of the year.
So could have been maybe a deadline piece, but with him struggling.
It's one of those things with the Mets and how bad this season is going that I think you're pretty much going to take calls on anybody that you may potentially move, even if they're not having a great year. I think opposing teams just want to see if Freddie Peralta is healthy enough, if he looks good enough, and for teams that need help in the rotation, I think they would take him.
"30 pitches in the second inning, and now you've got the 28th pitch here, the third inning coming for Scott. It's downstairs 2-2.
David Stearns right there in the middle. JP Martinez on the right, who was working in the front office for the New York Mets.
Well, Scott will wiggle his way out of any more damage, but damage was done by Ozzie.
Once again, Ozzie Albies coming up big. He has been consistent all season long, and another homer for Ozzie.
Three to 2 Braves as we begin the fourth here in front of a great crowd, a sellout crowd tonight at Truist Park. Great crowds over the next 4 days, as you would expect, with a holiday weekend. Braves and Mets. Even though the Mets are struggling, it's always a hot ticket here in Atlanta. Michael will saunter over, grab this. Carson Bench is 0 for 2. Both times he's hit it to Harris.
That one not nearly as hard. Remember that first at bat? That's where Michael made that great play in right center field on the run to save a couple of runs from scoring.
Now Jared Young, who's been getting the lion's share of the reps at first base this year, and he's batting 6 here tonight for the Mets.
It's a huge question mark coming into the season with Pete Alonso moving on to the Baltimore Orioles. They had brought in Polanco, but he'd never played first in his life, and so there was some talk about would he DH Mark Vientos, who can you ultimately end up using over at first base, and I'm not sure they still have their answer just yet, but this guy looks like he's a pretty good player. He can hold it down, but nobody replaces Pete Alonso.
Yeah, a guy who was so beloved there in Queens, Alonso, as you were kind of hinting on earlier. When you move on from those players and you have such a tough season, you get some angry folks up in the New York area. Dubon just had to go right a couple of steps for that one. Quick message from Delta.
From Braves country to the world. Delta, official airline of the Atlanta Braves.
A lot of balls in the air. That's the 8th out recorded in the air by Holmes here tonight. Alvarez hit it in the air to Harris back in the second.
He tried to hit that one way in the air.
Yeah, he did.
What is that arm sleeve? What do you got on that? It's like stickers you'd see on a fruit.
Yeah, I'm not sure what all's going on there.
She would just sit still for a second.
Did that one say lemonade? Maybe.
It said, I saw Pinot, P-I-N-O. Maybe his favorite drinks. What's that say? Maple what? No. Getting dizzy trying to read that.
Got my face all in the monitor up here.
Tell you what I do like here, what's going on with Grant Holmes. If you look at now each of these 4 innings, he essentially has gotten the first 2 hitters out. Now in the 3rd inning there was the error. Right, we got the first batter out, would have gotten Ewing out. There was the error by Matt Olson, but this inning as well, he essentially has gotten those first 2 outs.
1-2 pitch there, a single to left field for Alvarez.
Curveball here from Grant Holmes in that 1-1 count. Kind of backed up on him a little bit. You see how it's in her 3rd. Drake wants that ball away.
Brett Beatty with 1 on and 2 out.
Careful with him early, right? Pretty aggressive. As we have seen, we saw it up in New York. It's a guy that does not wait around very long. Take a hack at 36% first pitch swinging, 2nd highest on their team.
And he flew out on the first pitch in that last at bat in the second there. 0-1 from Holmes. That is right on the chalk. Alvarez is going to head for 3rd. Throw in there. Safe. And Beatty gets to 2nd. So 2 in scoring position with 2 out.
A lucky double there here that I'm not even sure if he knew where the baseball was when he hit it. And then it was whether or not it was actually going to be fair. 92 miles an hour. That's location that Grant Holmes wanted. You see how far in it got in on Brett Beatty. He's looking for the baseball. He's like, oh, that's going to be fair. And there might have been a shot to get him at 2nd as well. I think out in left field, there were a couple of options here for Mauricio Dubon, but you're not going to throw behind the runner. He's looking around as he's coming in. A little more risk involved there.
The 9-hole hitter, the catcher Luis Torrens. Slider from Grant Holmes. Talk about that pitch often. He throws so many of them. Sale has thrown the 2nd most sliders in baseball this year. Grant Holmes the 6th. So heavy slider usage from this Braves staff. And there it is again. Good block by Drake Baldwin.
I think part of that, when you go back 2 years ago when Grant Holmes, we first saw him at the big league level in 24 and had a really good year. A lot of that was in the bullpen, eventually in the rotation. His curveball is getting a huge swing and miss rate. It's dropped about 14-15% to this year, which I think has made that slider even more prominent.
94 on the fastball on the inside corner.
That's good location right there. I think that one caught Torrens by surprise.
Pretty much the same except for those home runs allowed, but the average is the same. But boy, what a home run differential. But you'd like that.
Yes.
You prefer the homers with the bases empty.
Give them up, make them solos. Yeah, coming into this one for Grant Holmes, 48 strikeouts on that slider. Only 8 of them on the curveball. There was a time where he was using both of those as weapons, but the slider has taken over as the dominant pitch.
Will he go to it here to try to get Torrens? He does, but it's fouled away. '71st pitch of the night for Holmes. Upstairs. Got it. And it is the slider. No damage off of Holmes in the fourth.
Really well done after the up and in fastball to get the swing and miss to put out the fire here in the fourth inning.
Time for our GMC Field Report with Wiley Ballard.
Well, Brandon, the Braves had a few transactions entering this weekend series. The one that might have caught the most attention was the signing of Andrew McCutchen, former MVP. He signed a minor league deal now with the Gwinnett Stripers. And then some bullpen reinforcements as well for the Braves. Anthony Almina was recalled. And how about Danny Young, a former Met, left-handed reliever for the Braves, coming off of Tommy John surgery. And Walt Weiss made the point, look, we're running a 7-man bullpen right now with Bryce Elder being skipped in the rotation. And Danny Young is a piece that could really be helpful in left-on-left situations. He's the third lefty in the pen, but of course Dylan Lee, you think of him as one of those top setup arms. Dylan Dodd actually has reverse splits where he's better against right-handed hitters. So Danny Young could be that typical left-on-left ace.
Yeah, it's a really interesting time to get him here to the big leagues, but as Wiley pointed out, you kind of had to do it because you were down a man in the bullpen, and what happened last night in the bullpen getting used quite a bit. We felt like some moves were coming, at least one. It turns out to be two in that bullpen. And I'm really curious to see Young. Velocity was good for him in the minor leagues. He's a low arm angle guy that sinks it around 93 with a really good sweeper.
Riley down on strikes after that good 10-pitch at bat where he drew a walk in the second, so he's 0 for 1. Yeah, and you did feel it coming with that 7-run seventh yesterday against the bullpen and having used quite a few arms and quite a few pitches. What's amazing is that the bullpen had been so good up to that point that the Braves bullpen still has a sub-3 ERA collectively. They're the only team in baseball that can say that, even after all that damage yesterday.
Yeah, 8 total runs. The 7-run inning that you were talking about, clearly and easily the worst inning of the year for this Braves bullpen. It's going to happen, right? You have to kind of build that in, and much like the big picture look we talked about with this team, get off to a great start at one point, a 10.5 game lead. You're building a cushion for when you're going to blow a tire at some point, and so we saw last night with the bullpen.
Braves with a chance to gain a half a game on the Phillies. They're idle tonight. It's a 2.5 game lead now for Atlanta.
So how did that happen that they're idle on a, oh, it must be World Cup related.
Yes, it is.
I mean big soccer tournament related.
Yeah, oh yeah,
Sorry.
you can't say that. Put a quarter in the jar. You and Wiley, I'm the only one that hasn't said it yet. I'm sure my time will come. It's that big soccer tournament. Little up 1-2 to Yastrzemski. Back-to-back strikeouts, and if you go to the end of the third inning, it's now 3 straight strikeouts for Scott.
In similar fashion in how he got Mike Yastrzemski out, and that was up above the strike zone. It was a cutter in his last at bat, and this time the 4-seam fastball at 96.
I was thinking of you today when reading about Christian Scott, because he was talking about during his Tommy John rehab, he had all this extra time while he was down in Florida. And he said he taught himself to cook, and I was waiting for him to talk about a sourdough starter and making bread, but no, he said he mastered steaks and breakfast food. That
sounds a little more manly. Absolutely. I kind of figured that's where this thing was ultimately headed.
But you're also a steak master on the grill.
And that, listen, as a professional athlete, that is pretty much meal 1 and 2 you need to be eating.
And he also taught himself how to play chess. He was playing people online overseas. So
oh wow.
He was, when he was not actually at the gym or doing physical therapy rehabbing, he was trying to make good use of his time.
Yeah, challenging his brain there a little bit. Very nice, smart.
He's trying to strike out the side here, and he's done it. 97 to get by Mateo. seasons with the Mets, now first year as a Braves pitching coach, and that leads us to our Inside the Numbers, brought to you by Hyundai. So the Braves, this is everybody, bullpen starters, the improvement from last year, obviously the best in baseball.
And the Braves have been excellent. The pitching staff has been really good. Now you see this list here, and again, the Braves are the best. The Washington Nationals, you might say, well, that's great news for them. They still have the 6th highest ERA in baseball, so give you an idea where they were a year ago and the kind of work that they have had to do. They got the great offense, but the pitching still scuffling.
Harris and Dubon there once again having to communicate, and once again it's the captain of the outfield that brings it in. Ball's carrying a little bit here tonight at Truist Park.
Yeah, it certainly is, and Michael with plenty of space to pull that one in. If you wanted to add a little dagger to that graphic we just showed you, we could also mention that the Mets are up nearly 0.10 of a point on their ERA year over year without Hefner now. But we're not like that. We're not petty.
No.
I mean, we are in our hearts for sure, but not outwardly.
Some petty boos for Juan Soto. 2-run homer to left back in the 3rd inning. AJ Minter, by the way, is warming for the New York Mets. Old friend alert, might see him here shortly.
If he's throwing right now, that tells me probably that Christian Scott is done. He looked good that last inning. 3 punch-outs and the fastball was live. Coming off surgery, hot night. They're very careful. He has not seen triple digits with his pitch count. He actually did not get over 90 in his last 2.
On the other side, the Braves also have a lefty throwing, and that's Dylan Dodd right now, with Holmes getting ready to toss pitch number 77. Ozzie will take this and make the play.
That's the big out right there, and the one that gives Grant Holmes an opportunity to stay in this game and finish this inning. Now I think he was going to face Bichette regardless, but it was a big one. That's why there was some action down in that Braves bullpen in case he ran into any trouble there with Soto. And again, basically 5 straight innings where he's gotten the first 2 guys out. 1 reach via error, but that's been a good sign here.
Right field toward the line. It drops. Been a couple of those tonight for the Mets, but Bichette is held to a single.
Frustrating because it's a good pitch. It's a 2-seam fastball. Good look at the grip. Running in on the hands of Bo Bichette. Below the barrel is where he hits it. Just a little bloop that barely stays fair.
A visit from Jeremy Hefner to talk to Grant Holmes.
That'll be about the strategy here with Francisco Lindor. You have the left-hander Carson Benj on deck, and then of course Young right behind him. So very likely that this would be Grant Holmes' last hitter.
Career low offensive marks for Lindor, but 2 things. He missed a pair of months with the calf injury, and you know what's on the back of the baseball card. This guy can produce when he is needed. He's 1 for 2 tonight. All-Star last year. He was 2nd in MVP voting in 2024 to Shohei Ohtani.
And clearly the plan early on there, a couple of backdoor cutters, as Grant Holmes landed the first one. That one just off the plate. That is where you want to miss. It's interesting. Last 2 years, Lindor's been really good against the right-handed cutter with an OPS of almost 900.
Matt Olson, that one gets by him, but it goes to Ozzie, and the play is still made. Just don't see this very often from Matt Olson, but that time it didn't hurt the Braves. Braves baseball is presented by Truist. Into the game as we saw him warming up is longtime Brave A.J. Minter. He is going to face Atlanta here in the bottom of the 5th.
How about these numbers you're going to see here from A.J. Minter and how it's gone for him since he has been back. He's missed significant time, but he is 14 games into this season, and that is not a mistake. No earned runs allowed, 11 punch outs to just 1 walk.
Tried to barehand that, but it gets to Lindor. Baldwin grounds out. Let's go back to that play that Matt Olson couldn't make there. Again, the Braves got the out, but this was kind of weird.
Yeah, look where it hits him. Right there on kind of his right shin or off just below his knee. So either it took a bad hop or he misread where he thought that ball was going to end up. And as good as Matt Olson has been with this glove, I'm going to guess that it kind of had some spin on it that he did not anticipate and kicked a different way. And hands up in the air, and Matt Olson can make 100 errors in a row and you would still take him to be your first baseman every single time. And some guys will tell you that defense can go into a slump, or it might have just been a couple of bad hops that he got caught in between on. He's still one of the best defensive first basemen in baseball.
Yeah, and it's so rare that he made an error in back-to-back games. That hadn't happened since April of 24. Ozzie with a sharp grounder. Bichette makes the play. But hopefully just a quick hiccup for Matt Olson. He's coming to the plate right now.
Well, we talked about, by the way, potential trade candidates off of this Mets roster, and A.J. Minter is absolutely one. And of course, we'd love to have him back in a Braves uniform again. Just good to see him healthy. It was tough when he left. Ended up dealing, was it hip injury, right? That somebody's, or the lat. The lat last year. Hip when he was here, right? And then lat. It was really bad. Did you say it was torn off of
the bone? Oh. Yeah, the lat muscle. That was April of last year. So he had season-ending surgery. But as you noted, we saw the numbers. Tremendous since coming back. Now the fastball isn't quite where it was when he was wearing a Braves uniform, but it's still good enough.
Averaging 93. The results, though, have been really good for him. No hits against that fastball for left-handed hitters. Righties have gotten to it a little bit. But it still is and always has been heavy cutter usage from A.J. Minter.
Painted on the corner, 2-2. There you go. Cutter. Last time the four-seamer. Another four-seamer that's going to be fouled into the seats.
A little love to Chef Jocko, who hooked us up once again. By the way, we were going on about the pizza that we saw that fans had yesterday, and what was in the booth today we got here? Some pizza that you can get from Slice. Sections 112, sections 150. It was as delicious as it looked last night.
The hot honey pepperoni out of this world. This might be out of the park. Right center. Deep. Gone. Olson makes it 4-2 Atlanta.
To do this against his old teammate, especially a little frustrated with the play that finished off the inning. He got another cutter. This one, though, did not get away. As you can see, the glove coming back over the plate down the middle there for Matt Olson, and he did not miss it. 429 feet.
Off of his old pal and former teammate A.J. Minter, who has now allowed an earned run this year, courtesy of Matt Olson.
That man a slice of pizza. Hot honey pepperoni. And by the way, we say slice. I mean, it's a slice for 3.
Yeah,
they're huge.
It could feed a small family. There it is. Again, there's 2 locations. So when you're at the park, grab a slice. 2-1, Mauricio Dubon with a pair of walks so far today. That miss. We've seen a few of those calls tonight from Malachi Moore, but no challenges.
And we told you the high strike in particular is where he gets very aggressive. Or I should say the high ball that he likes to call a strike.
Tommy Watkins had to dance out of the way. I think it might have clipped the bottom of his foot. He's all right.
You've heard me talk a lot about left-handed cutters that you get and a right-handed hitter. That's a lot of times we're going to see those balls hit hard, and Bo Bichette right now hugging the line for that reason. A lot of times where you can sneak one in there, and so you want to be what they call a step and a dive from the line.
Well, the 2, 3, and 5 hitters in the Braves lineup have a homer. Dubon's hitting 4th. See what he can do with his 3-2 pitch. That one's going to stay in the yard. Gives it a ride. The catch is made. No catch made on Olson's homer. This one was long gone.
This is an okay time to be a bad friend for Matt Olson against your buddy, because the Braves needed that run, and they now lead it by 2.
The Mets as we go to the top of the 6th, and we've talked about the bullpen all season long. It has been the story for this team, but there's a couple underappreciated parts of the bullpen, and one of them is Dylan Dodd, the lefty, who has carved out a nice role for himself. Had a chance to talk with Walt Weiss before the game, because, you know, in situations past, Dylan Dodd might have been one of those arms that was shipped out to Gwinnett when the bullpen needed a little bit of refreshment. But Walt pointed out that Dylan has created a nice role for himself. You know, initially they kind of struggled asking, okay, this guy's a starter, he's a reliever, he's a lefty, but he gets righties out, and he feels like he's gotten better and better every year, and he's got that unique 2-seam fastball that actually gets ride and gets a lot of swing and miss in the zone. So Dylan Dodd beginning to come into his own, and I did ask Dylan, he said, I don't wake up nervous anymore like I used to in those first couple of years.
Yeah, he absolutely doesn't need to be anymore, because he has established himself, and this fastball right there that you see is a really big part of it. It has gotten those numbers against lefties into a place now that is much more sustainable. He's doing a great job against them right now at 182 coming into this one. That was the last missing piece for him, and he got to figure it out.
He makes Carson Bench 0 for 3.
What I want Wiley to ask next time he kind of digs into some bullpen details is what I've become fascinated with, of course, because I'm easily distracted, is the entrance music for Dylan Dodd, for Tyler Kinley, for Dylan Lee. Right, we got some Billy Squire, I believe Jimi Hendrix that I've heard in there, and I think also was it CCR that Dylan Lee came out to.
Not sure.
I believe, and like these guys are throwing it back a little bit, and I think there may be a story there that Wiley can uncover for us in between his eating contests.
And I think appreciated by the Braves analyst. You're.
Sorry, I didn't hear you. Gretchen was talking about.
Oh, Gretchen,
yeah.
Come on. I said, I think that you appreciate this throwback.
Oh, yeah, for sure. I guess I was told it was the Hollies for Dylan Lee.
Ah, okay.
But good stuff. Like, I dig it. And these guys are too young for it. So it is a little throwback. But I think there's also, quite honestly, a part of this fan base that it appeals to,
yes,
for sure.
Absolutely. Also now just have a lot of guys There's a lot of D's down in that bullpen. There's 2 Dylans, there's a Didier, there's a Danny after Danny Young joining today. 2-2 here on Jared Young. Twice Jared Young has hit it to Dubon, and twice Dubon has caught it. He's 0 for 2. He fouls away 94 there from Dylan Dodd. Got him. Cutter, swing and a miss.
As we talk about the fastball and how it has helped so much against the lefties, this is the other part of it, right? He has always had the cutter, but the way that he now uses what quote unquote is a sinker that doesn't sink, it makes this pitch, which has always been good, even better against those lefties. They have to worry now about that fastball that is on that inner third and elevated.
Hey, Grant Holmes, by the way, looking at the final line for him, the 5 innings. Yes, the 2-run homer to Soto after the error, but he only gave up that 1 walk there in the first inning. So all in all, good work from Grant Holmes tonight.
Absolutely good to see from Grant Holmes, and kind of what we were looking for as far as that command went.
Some encouraging signs recently. Reynaldo Lopez, good start. Some good things from Hurston Waldrop last night, and now Holmes this evening. 0-2 to Alvarez. Down and in. Off of Dodd. Riley throws, but will be late with that throw, and now everyone will check on Dylan Dodd, make sure he's okay. Saw something somewhat similar last night with Dustin May, the Cardinals starter. He had to leave after a ball hit him. This one was not as hard, and maybe near the calf there of Dodd.
Yeah, not a bad spot. I mean, not if there's any great spots, but as far as it looked like, it maybe a little bit more muscle than bone. As he deflected that thing into no man's land, nobody to get out in that spot. And it is the right leg, so that, or was it the left leg? Was this left leg coming around, right?
Yes.
So it's the left leg, so it's the push-off leg. And it is the back side of it, right? You said kind of off to the side there of the calf. So that'll be the one concern, is that is their full strength pushing off the pitching rubber.
Gave a thumbs up.
And to your point, going back to what we're talking about, this little run here by some starters that the Braves have been waiting on. So we take a peek at this one more time here from Dylan Dodd against that 2-seam fastball. 15 in a third innings now the last 3 days, 5 earned runs from these guys. So encouraging sign. 3 to Waldrop, and now 1 each to Reynaldo Lopez and Grant Holmes. The 5 innings just as important, quite honestly, and showing that they can get through 5.
And now the bullpen the rest of the way tonight. Beatty went way up.
Whatever you do, get wide here, right? We've talked about his aggressiveness. You're way ahead in the count. I mean, that chase on that first one was significant. You may take a shot with the fastball up, or go ahead and sweep that slider, make it a little bit bigger, and get it off the plate.
Brett Beatty, the former number 12 pick for the Mets back in 2019, awaits a 1-2 from Dodd. Left side, Mateo picks a tough in between Hop and throws across for a beautiful web gem.
It's like it doesn't matter who you put over at short. The Braves are going to give you great defense, and what a play here by Mateo in the throw as well to get Brett Beatty by easy full step and then some.
Look at some future nurses presented by Kaiser Permanente here at Truist Park. Kiddos all over the place. Love when they bring their gloves. Supporting the Bravos, and right now enjoying the Braves with a 4-2 lead. So Kodai Senga was in the rotation, was struggling mightily. They've now moved him to the bullpen, and he comes in here in the 6th inning.
He's already thrown once out of the pen, and in those 7 starts, 0-7 for Kodai Senga. I take that back. One of the losses he actually got as a reliever. So his first game as he goes into the bullpen at 0-6, he gets tagged with a loss. Now it was a lengthier outing there, as you can see, the 5 innings for Kodai Senga. There have been some talk about a guy in his situation, contract situation. Would he go down to the minor leagues, maybe take a little bit of breather? According to reports and those that cover this team, the answer was no. And so that means they put him in the bullpen and try to work through it.
That last relief outing that he had, which again was long 5 innings, but that's the first time that he had come out of the bullpen after 59 starts with the Mets. But they had so much hope for this guy, and he was great as a rookie in 2023, made the All-Star team, and then some injuries hit. Now coming back from that injury this year, has not looked great.
And he's got another year left on that contract at $14 million. They're going to have a potentially tough decision to make if they just eat that money if they don't see a spot for him. Now there's still better than 2 months left in the season, closer to 3, and so you have some time to get it figured out. But if they don't, it's going to be an interesting part of their offseason, what they do with Kodai Senga.
A 1-2 forkball that gets Harris. He is 1 for 3 with that homer back in the 2nd.
So whenever I mark down pitches, when something happens to finish an at bat, it's either the velocity, if it's a fastball, if it's a splitter, it's an SP, if it's a slider, it's an SL, if it's a sweeper, it's an SW. And I didn't really like what I had to write down there.
You should put FRK just
but then it's 3 letters. I'm a 2-letter guy. It's for my pitches. Didn't feel right.
You feel profane?
A little bit.
Okay.
It's kind of like a split anyway, isn't it?
Yeah.
I mean, if we call and they do with the algorithm on Hurst and Waldrop's split, which really to me is more like a forkball because of how little it spins, but he calls it a split, so it gets called a split. They could put down like a GF. Remember when he got here, it was Ghost Fork.
Yes.
Right, that was the
there
name
you
of
go.
that pitch.
Gluten-free. It's a ghost fork. Gluten-free Ghost Fork. Young flips to Kodai Senga. 2 down. A message here from Chevrolet.
Get into a 2026 Chevy Trax, starting at $23,495. Proud partner of the Atlanta Braves.
If you remember, his glove used to have a graphic of a ghost holding a pitchfork because of that ghost fork, but I don't know that he still has that on there. I don't see it.
It's one of the things that kind of caught my attention. It happens here a lot more now in the States, but when I was over there in 07 and 08, it seemed like any decent player had kind of his own logo, silhouette usually of them on their glove, on their wristbands, everywhere.
He's still got it on the outside webbing of that glove. There it is.
Yeah.
It's Halloween.
I'm like Pac-Man. such a weird feeling, I think, for us, at least for me, that we have this 4-game series, get ready, do all of our prep, and then we'll see in 3 days.
Yeah.
Right, to come back for Monday with both Saturday and Sunday being national games, Fox tomorrow, Peacock on Sunday.
It's going to be really weird, especially tomorrow on July 4th, to not be at the ballpark. We will be locked in with the rest of you.
I will say, with working a few more games this year, that is the one thing I do miss, is actually sitting down at home. I know you don't get to experience this as much, just actually watching a Braves game. It's enjoyable to do, and I look forward to doing it this weekend.
While firing up maybe a burger on the grill. Braves, by the way, have 3 hits, all of them homers, and then 4 walks, but they don't have any singles, doubles, or triples. It's kind of been an interesting game so far. And Riley is not going to change that here. Kodai Singh is going to set the Braves down in order in the 6th. On this holiday weekend, that is Master Sergeant Jared Stidham. 10 combat deployments, 20 years of service to this nation, an Air Medal Award with Valor. Just a tremendous resume. And he got a standing ovation here at Truist Park after that last inning.
Well, they deserve to be celebrated every day, but a little extra special on this weekend.
Here is Danny Young, so the former Brave, and then with the Mets the last couple of years, and now here he is returning to Atlanta.
As I mentioned, what we saw in the minor leagues, you get the lower arm angle. That fastball right there was 93 miles an hour. That had been about the average for him, and a sweeper to go with it. Big spot to be put in, right? Your first game back, and there really are not a lot of soft landings in the big leagues. And of course, Danny Young has been around the big leagues, but this is his first big league game since last April and the injury that he went through. And so not only that, but you're doing it against your former team.
Yep, dealing with a lot of stuff. 433 days if you add it all up in between the appearance last April 26th before the Tommy John surgery and then today here on July 3rd. High bouncer. Riley has it, and Torrens is retired.
That is kind of the name of the game there, which is because of the 2-seam fastball. A lot of ground balls. The ground ball rate over the course of his career has been really good. He's going to rely on that defense to turn those ground balls into outs.
Tyrone Taylor is going to hit here in the place of A.J. Ewing at the top of the order for the Mets. He missed the first Braves series in June. He was out with a right hip flexor strain, and he returned June 28th. Like a lot of the Mets, struggling a little bit at the plate.
It's got kind of an interesting combination where there's a very high chase rate. He's going to go up there and he's going to go hacking, but the strikeout rate is actually much better than league average. So it's not so much swing and miss, but he expands.
Left side of the infield getting some action. One more out, then we go to Nick and Pete for the stretch, brought to you by Georgia Natural Gas.
So not only that it is his first appearance in 433 days, and it's against your old team, and it's a 2-run lead, but he knew coming in he was going to see Juan Soto in this inning.
Soto, who is responsible for the 2 Mets runs, a homer in the 3rd to left field. He shakes his head a lot.
He will wear you out with that. That was 100% a strike.
And for you Braves fans watching that don't remember Danny Young, he did not throw a ton for the Braves during those 22 and 23 seasons. 11 total innings at the big league level, so most of that time at the minors, but it's more seasoned now. 2-1 pitch. 3-1 to Soto. Is he going to challenge? Yes.
The batter is challenging a call strike.
It's going to be real close here. Again, with these fastballs are all two-seamers. So there's going to be some run back. It's whether or not there was enough to catch the outside of the zone.
Calls overturned. New York has 2 challenges remaining.
ABS challenge powered by T-Mobile. And Soto, who always racks up a ton of walks, gets one here in the 7th. Didier Fuentes is ready in that bullpen, and Walt Weiss is going to turn to him to face Bo Bichette when we get back. TV provider, you can now stream the games on the go at no cost. Go to braves.tv/authenticate, select your TV provider, log in, and you'll be able to figure out the rest. Braves.tv/authenticate. Fuentes is in the ball game here to try to get Bo Bichette, and in the top of the 7th.
And you know what you get here with Fuentes: fastball, slider. Every once in a while you'll see that split. This fastball has been sitting at 97. His slider's been incredible. 26 of the 37 punch-outs have come on that four-seam fastball.
Batter is challenging a call strike.
So Juan Soto just won a challenge against Malachi Moore, the home plate umpire. Let's see here.
That wasn't that close.
Yeah.
Calls overturned.
And
New
then
York
again,
has
that
2
spot
challenges
for
remaining.
Malachi Moore where he misses, which is above the strike zone.
Three 3-0. That one in on the hands. So Grant Holmes went 5. Then it was Dylan Dodd, Danny Young, and now Didier Fuentes.
Fuentes, another one. We talked about it with Dylan Lee this year, who has done a really nice job when he has inherited runners. 14. This is now 15 on the season, and only 3 have scored.
This is going to go foul. Now Yastrzemski will run over there, but no play.
When you're down the line as the ball boy in those situations, it's just pick up your chair and run. Don't look back. It's like running from an explosion, like somebody threw a hand grenade. You just got to go. Don't turn around. Just keep going.
I was going to say ran like he stole something, but I like the grenade better. Payoff pitch. Matt Olson has this one, and he will take hit himself to send us to the stretch.
Welcome to the stretch, fueled by Georgia Natural Gas. Service, savings, sustainability. It's that simple.
Welcome to the stretch, fueled by Georgia Natural Gas. Nick Green and Peter Moylan here with you. Peter, at the pregame show, we talked about the better at bats for the Braves offense. The one thing we have not seen lately is the home run ball. We finally get to see it today.
We sure did multiple times. I asked for one in the pregame. We got 3 already tonight, and I'm sure there's going to be more later. It all started with Michael Harris. Tell me he didn't get some high tee work done before the game, Nick Green, because that was top of the zone. The fastball was nasty in the first inning. He got on top of that one, drove it out to center field. Ozzie Albies got a four-seam fastball right in the go zone. It was middle in, about thigh high. Doesn't usually miss those, Nick. In fact, you didn't even miss those. That was a tough pitch.
Correct.
And Matt Olson, old friend alert, not anymore. He just took a I think it was a little bit of a cutter. It was a hanging cutter. AJ Minter was nasty before that, by the way, and just one mistake. Matt Olson made him pay, and it was beautiful to watch.
All right, so Peter and I chose our key to the game before in the pregame show. 3 of the last 4 days, it's been the home run ball. Peter finally wins. Congratulations.
Thank you.
All right, let's get you back to Braves baseball for a quick word from our friends at Georgia Natural Gas.
When it comes to natural gas in Georgia, G&G leads the league. We keep it simple with great rates that save you money. We even make it easy to reduce your carbon footprint with greener life. Sign up in minutes at gng.com. It's that simple.
Welcome back to Truist Park. We are inside the Delta Sky 360 Club. We've got all sorts of food options. We've got some cocktail options at the Gold Glove Bar. Anything that can suit your fancy. Plus, we've got premium seating right behind home plate. And if it gets too hot, come in here and get some air conditioning. So this is the best possible way to spend this 4th of July weekend right inside the Delta Sky 360 Club. Go to Braves.com/premium for details.
Thank you, Mr. Ballard. 4-2 ball game, bottom of the 7th. Yastrzemski swinging at a high pitch there from Senga.
If Wiley ran across my Gold Glove that I'd never won over there.
Think it's in there? Come on, you came close, right?
Not even remotely.
Oh, come on.
Ask Megan about that one day. She watched my entire career and how I fielded my position.
Are Maddox's 18 Gold Gloves in there? Probably not. As the most ever by anybody. Now, some people will say, well, it's a pitcher getting a Gold Glove, but he won 18 of them.
Pretty impressive. And obviously tremendous at fielding his position. Jim Cotton had 16. And just between a couple of pitchers right there with 34 Gold Gloves is pretty awesome.
Of course, you knew Mitch was going to chime in, CJ. You had 7 errors on the mound.
Didn't he say that last time? We're just going to let that go.
Yeah.
You know what I actually liked what he brought to the table today? Which I don't think he texted you, but he texted me. He said, I'm 11 from my last 12 on keys. Before the game that ended up, that kind of came true. And he's like, I like that you take some time to put some creativity. So, you know, it's about 238 or 240 keys I got to come up with this year. So the pressure is on. No getting lazy. I don't know how he judges when they're accurate or not. But
yeah, it's a little subjective. Yes, is retired. Well, you were right about the first one tonight. I remember it was about Holmes and his command,
which he was really
good at. That. What was the second?
Reliever mentality, and then with Christian Scott kind of waiting him out a little bit, try to get that pitch count up because he is a guy that will have an issue. We saw the 2 walks with 18 pitches, and it got him out of the game after 4.
All right, so 2 for 2 tonight.
We got all weekend now to think about Monday.
Mateo had a long fly ball in the 2nd inning. He struck out swinging in the 4th. Both of those were against Christian Scott, the starter. He's going to. Oh, I thought that was fair. What? Now, wait a minute. Tommy Watkins going right to Lance Barrett. It looked like that hit the chalk.
And what's really unfortunate, behind the bag can be challenged, in front of the bag cannot. And I don't know where. I mean, this is one that's got to be in. Well, we'll see. I think it's one that you can't challenge. I mean, yeah, you see chalk right there. So that's actually a call that would be behind the bag.
Yeah, that's a fair ball.
Yeah. So I think Walt can challenge this. Can he not?
They're having that discussion right now.
Is it in front of the bag or in front of the umpire? That was in front of the bag, isn't it? So basically, here's the thing. That call is not on where that ball landed because it's not hitting the air.
Right.
It's based on his judgment of how it went over the bag. But how could it have been foul over the bag if it hit chalk?
If it
10
hit
feet
chalk,
behind the bag?
There's no way.
10 feet might be an exaggeration, but you know what I'm talking about. Yeah.
See the chalk pop in the air.
Ugh.
Would have been an easy double for Mateo. And now he's down here 1-2 after 98 from Senga. And Tommy Watkins immediately reacted, and you don't see him be that animated that often, but I think he saw what we saw, now what you all saw at home. Tough break for Jorge Mateo. Should have been a double.
And he goes chasing here against the slider from Kodai Senga. Missed it by a pretty healthy margin, but no doubt you're thinking about what happened earlier in the at-bat. Some real frustration there for Mateo.
So the Braves still have the 3 hits in this game, and all of them have been homers. Although it looked like Mateo had changed that. Here's Baldwin.
It's 3 straight sweepers here to Drake Baldwin. Those last 2, I should say, were painted on the outside corner.
Hits in 3 straight games for Drake Baldwin. He's 0 for 3 tonight. There's Antoine Richardson. He did such a great job over there at first base with the Mets. They were so good at stealing bases last year. Now first year with Atlanta. But as CJ mentioned earlier, the Mets have not had nearly the success they did a year ago in stealing those bases. Two and two.
Yeah, things got a little bit ugly this week. Not sure if you saw the Eric Chavez podcast and some of the news that went around. Of course, former big leaguer, had been the hitting coach a couple of years ago with the New York Mets and was kind of talking about some of the relationships with the front office and the way things have changed.
Called strike, no challenge. 7 in the books. 4-2 Atlanta. Of the game, there have been a couple good ones tonight for Atlanta.
It's been good to see. It started in that first inning with Michael Harris running that ball down in the gap. This was an amazing play from Jorge Mateo with a strong throw and stretch on the other side there for Matt Olson. And even the deflection was a good play. Matt Olson, the ground ball, he thought he should have gotten it, kicked over to Ozzie Albies. They were able to get an out on that one. Saw what, 4 ground ball double plays in last night's ball game. The gloves have shown up.
And the Braves with a 4-2 lead, looking for 6 more outs here to win game 1 of this 4-game series. '99 fouled off by Lindor. Got him. Slider and a nasty one. Lindor swings through it.
It's a big first out here, and this one is live and sharp from Fuentes. And the fastball, when you have this kind of velocity that we see from him tonight, up to 99 miles an hour, it gets the bat started a little bit earlier, and then the slider just plays really well with it.
Get a little more excited every time you see this young kid pitch. Facing Carson Bench here. Couldn't stop his bat on that slider. 0-2. Left field, he's going to be able to reach on this 0-2 pitch. So Benj with his first hit tonight.
And that was against 99. And the one thing with Carson Benjamin we noticed here early in his career is he's not afraid to take a big hack regardless of count. So that was 0-2. He's not shortening up. He's not trying to be quick. He's taking a big swing, and he's just late on the fastball, but he lines it to left field.
So tying run to the plate, Jared Young. Fly ball out to left center. And Mauricio Dubon makes the catch. Here's a quick message from Alpha Insurance.
No matter what life throws your way, we'll be there knocking it out of the park. Getting you back home safe and sound. That's life with Alpha Insurance.
Francisco Alvarez made his debut here at Truist Park back at the end of the 2022 season. That's when the Braves swept the Mets in the penultimate series of the season, and both teams finished with 101 wins, but the Braves had the tiebreaker and won the division. Alvarez was very young at the time when he debuted. Now he's still pretty young at 24. Slider's devastating here tonight.
Down to one knee there for Alvarez, and with that kind of swing, you maybe take another shot at it or go ahead and elevate 98, 99. Just make sure you get it up above either top of the zone or even higher.
He went outside with that slider, 2-2. So Beatty on deck, but Fuentes trying to end the top of the 8th here, and it comes out of the glove of Baldwin. It is a foul ball.
That was a great pitch too. So Alvarez is trying to say foul tip. Now what was the actual call?
Yeah, Malachi Moore said foul ball, and I think it was. Yeah.
Bounces twice off of Alvarez after the fact. That's a great pitch. A bunch of sliders in a row, then go fastball away. It looked like he had gotten it past him. Probably stay there. Down and away, if they're comfortable necessarily running it in.
Mateo waits on it and throws across to send us to the bottom of the 8th. 4-2 Braves as we take a peek at our Yellowwood Bringing the Lumber feature. Talking about percentage of runs that are scored via the homer for the Atlanta Braves going back to 2023. Now the number down this year, but all 4 runs tonight via the homer.
And I would say that generally it's not that you always want to lead in that category unless you're having an historic season like the Braves had in 2023. You don't want to become too reliant on the home run unless, again, you're scoring a ton of runs and hitting a ton of home runs, and that's okay.
The Braves hit over 300 of them back in that 23 campaign. Ozzie has one of the homers tonight, but he's going to bounce out to Young here.
So the way things are shaping up, your quadruple D dream is likely not going to come true, right? But you did get Dylan, you did get Danny, you did get Didier. I don't know if we can come up with something for Iggy that has a D in it, so you're going to have to settle for triple D here tonight, which is a great show, right? Diners,
drive-ins, and dives.
Yeah. Guy Fieri.
Can we call him Diggy?
It's fun.
Well, never mind.
The other thing, go ahead, is for Grant Holmes, he's now up to 82 in the third innings this season without allowing a stolen base, which is kind of incredible. That is 4th highest in Braves history since they have been in Atlanta. So I should say Atlanta history, 1966. Think about bigger bases. Teams have run pretty well against the Braves this year, but not against Grant Holmes.
A feather in his cap. Matt Olson had the homer off of A.J. Minter.
Catcher is challenging to call a ball.
Both teams still with a pair remaining here. Now the bat's down to 1.
New York has 1 challenge remaining.
Matt had been on a bit of a homer drought. It had been 16 games since that last homer. For most players, not a big deal, but with Matt, with how many he hits, now 21 of them on the season. A little bit of a drought, but he broke it in the 5th. Three-2 from Senga. We'll do it again. Olson heard country roads and he hit it a country mile. Two tonight for Mario.
Another cutter, right? It was A.J. Minter who threw the cutter, and now Kodai Senga with a hanging cutter just kind of spinning there. And for Matt Olson, not only 2 home runs, the first one at 429, this one at 411. Absolute bombs for Mario tonight.
That was kind of cool. Matthew Kaminsky played Country Roads. He stopped. The stadium serenaded the rest of the song, and then right after that, Matt Olson hit it to the chop house. And I don't think I've ever heard that done here at the ballpark.
I'm not sure. We hear it a lot around the league, but I don't know if we've heard it here.
And of course, the U.S. men's national team has kind of made that their anthem throughout that big soccer event that's going on that we can't say the name of. So the Braves have 4 hits tonight, and all of them have been home runs. 2 by that guy. Dubon chases the slider. More looks of Matteo to the chop house.
Yeah, these are fun to watch here. These no doubters. When Matt Olson gets rolling, we know the kind of power he has, and a lot of what you see from the side is how well he catches that baseball out front and barreling it into right field.
Georgia Natural Gas Greener Life Impact Player is officially Matt Olson. So no homers in the previous 16 games, and then 2 here in the last few innings. There's the first non-home run hit for the Braves. It comes off the bat of Michael Harris.
He stays on the sweeper here from Kodai Senga. Remember when it was, I believe, Dom Smith, where he's painting those backdoor sweepers, actually to Drake Baldwin, and this one ends up staying in the middle of the plate. You got a much better chance as a left-handed hitter of getting to it. When it stays outer third, it is a really, really tough pitch.
That will be it for Senga. We'll return in a moment. Rooms to Go. That July 4th sale is going on now at Rooms to Go. Shop and save store-wide. By your local Ford dealer. And also by Georgia Natural Gas. Simple savings right here. Visit gng.com. Well, a lot of America going on. Watermelon eating. That kid's got the flag on the side of his head. And the Braves are on top here 5-2. So Joey Gerber is the pitcher. And he faces Dom Smith with 2 outs.
It's 5 games on the year here with the Mets. 7 1/3 innings for Gerber. Fastball sits at 94. Cutter, slider, changeup. But mostly it's just going to be that 4-seam fastball and the cutter.
Michael's going to take a late night nap. See that unique high quick leg kick there for Gerber. That's always been part of his delivery. Dom Smith lines it foul. 2-1. And Joey Gerber went 5 years between big league appearances. He debuted during the COVID season in 2020. Then he missed 21 with a back surgery. 22 he had Tommy John surgery. 23 an elbow and forearm strain. So he didn't pitch at all for 2.5 years. Dom Smith gives it a ride. Deep out to left center, but it's brought in on the track by Taylor. But the Braves get a little insurance courtesy of Matt Olson.
Matty O doing it once again. 2 solo home runs tonight. And the Braves lead it by 3 going into the ninth.
The
Friday night showdown
presented by Kaiser Permanente. Raisel Iglesias is coming into this ball game to try to get the final 3 outs. Comcast Business defend the mound. He got his 900 strikeout his last time out. That is second only to Chapman among primary relievers.
Yeah, pretty incredible when you look at the list of those relievers right there. Some of the best in the game right now. And there is Iggy second with those 900 punchies.
8-9-1 starting with Beatty. No balls, 1 strike. Braves have 25 wins here at Truist. They have 25 wins on the road. They're trying to get to win 51 here tonight. And this will help. Mateo is there.
Just realized I'm not going to have a Friday night showdown for like 3 weeks. We got an Apple game next Friday, and then we have the Texas Rangers.
Oh, you're off that
I'm off that series. Frenchie will be here for the Rangers series after the All-Star break.
You feel like you got your money's worth tonight?
I'll have Megan tease me, and just lead it to me, and I'll just yell it in the house.
You should really post that.
Scare the crap out of my dog. She doesn't like those loud sounds.
That would be gold content.
Hey, Macy Jane, you know what that means.
Terrens is 0 for 3 tonight. He's down 0-2 in the count. Iglesias loves to work quick. Goes with a slider, 1-2.
It's been really clear with how he has decided to use that slider this year. Chase pitch away from certain righties that will be susceptible to it, and that's been about it. What an adjustment from a year ago for Iggy on that pitch. .34 consecutive saves
for Raisel Iglesias. Trying to get to 35 tonight. Again, Kimbrel has that Atlanta Braves record. He had 37 straight in 2013. Another 1-2. Just off the end of the bat. There's that slider again. Ozzie cannot get there. So a single the other way for Torrens.
You go a calendar year now here for Raisel Iglesias, and it has been 64 games and a 1.38 ERA. He's been on an incredible run. Talked about the consecutive saves, 71 punchouts over that time, and just 37 hits in 65 innings.
An incredible run. Now, barring a double play, he will have to deal with Juan Soto, who is on deck here after Taylor. Painted 0-2. Taylor's 0 for 1 since coming into the game in the 7th. One-two pitch, struck him out on the changeup. 2 away in the ninth.
Well, a big one to your point with Juan Soto lurking, and now he no longer would represent the potential tying run. But look at that changeup and the grip, the way that he turns it over, the movement at the end as Taylor comes up empty.
And the boos come back out for Soto, who is 2 for 3 against Iggy with a double. Now they will let the runner take second base.
Catcher is challenging and ball.
Braves have both, so Baldwin figuring why not.
Those 3 plate appearances, one of them earlier this year, one last year, and then the other one all the way back in 2018. I didn't realize they were challenging there. I looked down for a second.
Yeah, Baldwin figured he'd give it a go. Now the Braves have 1 left. So do the Mets.
And remember when we were in New York and Juan Soto was at second base and clearly relaying signs of Raisel Iglesias to the hitters. And we'll see whether or not Torrens can pick up on him or if there's anything else going on out there. And I think certainly they had gone over it. They talked about it. His run means nothing. If it ever became a distraction, just walk him over to third base.
Line drive out into right field. They will hold Torrens at third. Not going to risk that. And that will bring the tying run to the plate, and it's going to be Bo Bichette.
Four-seam fastball here from Raisel, trying to go in up over the middle instead for Soto as he laces it into right field. Now this does become a little bit more interesting because the Braves are probably not going to hold Juan Soto. We'll see whether or not he tries to take second base. Now Matt Olson is looking into the dugout right now to see what Walt wants. And he actually is going to hold him. He's not. No, he is going to play behind. No.
Little tap dance. Yeah. Strike to Bichette. Bo Bichette 0 for 1 against Iglesias, so they don't have a whole lot of history. That was a strikeout. No balls, 2 strikes, 40,000 coming to their feet. Ground ball through on an 0-2 fastball. Bichette keeps the game going and makes it 5-3.
Now the four-seamer here, and again, looked like they were trying to potentially get in. Soto was on the move, and that's how he was able to get to third easily. All kinds of room there on the right side for Bo Bichette, who's one of the better hitters in the game when it comes to hitting the baseball the other way.
There's nobody in the Braves pen. It's certainly all about Iglesias right now. Jeremy Hefner just wants to have a pep talk and maybe go over the scouting report here with Francisco Lindor coming to the plate. That's what he has done in his career against Iglesias.
Now, he is the guy that has far and away seen Iggy the most. 15 total plate appearances. Your next closest Met has half of that at 7. Those 4 hits, all singles against Iglesias.
What do you think of this matchup, CJ?
That's a fun one. I mean, obviously there's a lot of history here. There's 3 punch outs as well. Now, of course, it is the runner at first who becomes the most important. But not a lot changes here for Raisel Iglesias. It's the same routine with the fastball changeup.
Down and in. Maybe a little more drama than Braves country wanted here in the top of the 9th. This one is hit right at Ozzie Albies. Braves win. The long ball powers Atlanta tonight. 5-3 the final over the Mets.
A lot of good things happening here tonight, including Grant Holmes and the 5 innings that he went, only the 1 earned run. Great defense again. Mateo, Michael Harris, and then of course Matt Olson with a couple of solo shots as well. Just an overall good night to open up this 4-game series.
We will be back with more from Truist Park in just a moment.